All right, y'all, here we go with the long-awaited Scorpio rising, Scorpio ascendant video. And this video might take a little bit longer just because this is my rising sign, and I need to give y'all some real life examples of how this rising sign can possibly play out. And I say possibly because your rising sign, the energy that you give off, your first impression depends on one, the degree of your rising sign, and also do you have planets sitting in the first house? Because the first house is your rising sign. And if you have other planets there, it can change the energy of how you present yourself to the world. Because again, your rising sign essentially is the first impression. How do people view you when they first get to know you, before they get to know your emotions, before they get to know your soul? What impression are you giving to people? Now, remember, Scorpio is a water sign, and water signs are a little bit more emotionally sensitive. They could be more, I'll say psychic, intuitive. You have that gut feeling. So, as a water rising, how you present yourself to the world could again be a little bit more introverted. You could be somebody who is more observant. That is something that I learned when I was in my teens, my 20s, being told that when I go out, that I don't speak to people because Scorpio energy, again, it sits back and watches. Scorpio is all about finding truth, finding things that are hidden. So I have to sit and observe people. I don't go out and chit chat and talk. Now, of course, if somebody talks to me, I'm going to talk to them, but it's not a sign that will just openly just be extroverted and be out there. Scorpio is also a feminine sign, meaning again, it's more emotionally intuitive. It operates more on emotions than it does a fire or an air sign, which is more logical. Those are masculine signs. So how you present yourself to the world could be again when you're out in public, you're a little bit more shy, you're a little bit more introverted. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and your chart ruler will be Mars. So Mars is that planet, that god of war, fighting, aggression, your physical energy. It's also ruled by Pluto, which has to do with power, which has to do with transformation, that life and death, out with the old, in with the new. Scorpio risings are always going some kind of transformation. I've gone through, first of all, like 100 different jobs, not too many careers, but again, always changing my name on MySpace when I started on social media to, how do I present myself to the world? Constantly changing, new hair, new job, new career. Now, of course, I'm an astrologer now, still teaching. Okay. But teaching in a different way. I've transformed. I'm a new person as of like last year. So, that's kind of how you could present yourself. I used to get told all the time, you don't talk, you don't speak, people think whatever about you because Scorpio energy presents itself as mysterious, because you're not out chatting and talking, people have no idea who you are. They could also look at you like you're mean or you're whatever because Scorpio energy can be a little bit intimidating as well. And again, depending on your other aspects, but I have known other Scorpio risings that aren't as intense, as I can present myself. But again, too, like I said, very intense, very passionate, very mysterious. Scorpio is a fixed sign, so fixed energy. Your rising or fixed energy can be very stubborn, can be very fixated on whatever it is focused on, like your goals, your aspirations, things that you love, like your relationship, your family. Again, you are going to fight for them. That can be a very determined sign. Scorpio energy is also about it can be obsession, it can be jealousy, it could be revenge. Okay? You can be like I want to get that person back. That's all that energy that you can kind of present yourself as because it's ruled by Mars, again that more intense aggressive energy. Scorpio risings can also do a lot of self-harm, either physically or again, abusing things like alcohol, like drugs, that can also be seen through there too. And again, just depending on where the Mars is placed, that can also determine that. I'm not saying every Scorpio rising is like that, but that can be a thing too. Can get into a lot of physical trouble because, like I said, it wants revenge, it wants to fight. And so I can find myself sometimes just kind of saying that in my head, like, oh, somebody needs to get this person because it can't always be me. Okay. But though, there are those tendencies, and I'm not saying that I'm aggressive because I have evolved and I'm much more mature than I was in my earlier years. But again, there's evolution. But the self-awareness, so again, if you have those feelings, that's where that comes from, that little bit more aggressive energy. Like I said, every sign is carrying a certain energy. So you can't blame people for feeling how they feel about certain things because that's just the energy that they have in them. So if you're a little bit more intense, Scorpio rising, that could be why. But as far as your second house is ruled by Sagittarius, which is Jupiter energy. So whenever it comes to things like your family, things like your wealth, you could come from a family of either like religious people or people who work in like a social field, a family of intellects, because Jupiter, Sagittarius energy is knowledge. I do come up from a family who is very religious. Everybody's in church, it seems like, except me. And so that can be seen through there. The Scorpio risings that I do know as well, they do have a very religious upbringing. But again, everyone in my family, I view them as very intelligent. So again, those intellects, people who are teachers, people who are doctors, I do come from a family like that, so that can be also seen through, you know, um, you. And also when it comes to your money, we tend to have, I'm gonna say, a little bit more fortunate advantage as far as our wealth. Not saying every single Scorpio rising in the world is, a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever, but because Jupiter rules over the second house, you could have those tendencies to have like random luck. You could also invest your family wealth into things because again, Jupiter rules over your second and fifth house, but I'll get to that in a second. Um, but as far as your third house is ruled by Capricorn, and third house is siblings, short distance traveling, your communication. And so whenever it comes to Capricorn or Saturn type of energy, you could have a very disciplined relationship with your younger siblings, even more of a pessimistic one when it comes to, again, your willpower, your courage is also seen through the third house. It can make you have either a delayed mind, delayed thinking, procrastination, because third house is the house of intellect, of your mind, of your communication, and having Saturn there can slow those things down. I can find myself procrastinating a lot, y'all, a lot. So that can also be seen through there too. Your relationship with your siblings or your communication with your siblings can be very like, I just need to talk to you about this thing. Like it's just not just random stuff, but it's more of like, there's a reason why. It's a little bit more matured energy, or speak to them only whenever you have to. Your fourth house is ruled by Aquarius. Now, fourth house is the house of home, the house of mother, the house of ancestry, and of course, Aquarius energy. That's Saturn energy as well. So, home life, because Aquarius is objective, and I'm an Aquarius sun. So, because Aquarius is objective, I can see things from all perspectives. The way that you were brought up could be of like otherworldly, there was no one specific thing, or a very multicultural upbringing. That is something that I have seen through my own life. The different schools that I went to, it was very, very diverse. And also the city that I live in, very diverse. So, I do have otherworldly perspectives as far as, how I view the world, how I view home, how I view where I've been brought up. So that can also be seen through there. And also, I have seen Scorpio risings can be really good at either investing into properties or just dealing with things like real estate too. I've been told that I should do real estate, and I'm like, that's just not my thing. I'd rather teach. But I have looked into it, and again, randomly throughout my life, people say you should do real estate, which is weird because now when you learn astrology, you're like, is this a sign? I don't know. But that is seen through your fourth house. Now your fifth house is ruled by Pisces. Now, fifth house is the house of dating, casual romance. It's the house of children. It's the house of, theater, acting, stock market, speculative gains. Those kind of things are seen through there. So Pisces energy, Neptunian energy. So wherever Pisces or Neptune is placed in your chart, it can give you creativity, but it can also give you delusion. It can also give you, so when it comes to things like dating, like romance, you could be delusional about those areas of life. But also because Pisces is all signs, it's very creative. You can have a very creative type of mindset when it comes to children. Now, when it came to teaching, that is something that I harped on so much with my students. I was not like, I was a strict teacher. I will say I was a strict teacher, but I was strict with them getting their work done, but I understood the fact that everyone was different and everyone had different interests. And so I was really into like, okay, you need to get this assignment done, but how do you want to do it? Do you want to draw? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I would hone in on those skills. So Pisces ruling over your fifth house, whenever it comes to children, you could be more openly creative with them, allowing them to be more free with how they express themselves. As far as your sixth house, though, your sixth house is ruled by Aries or Mars. So sixth house is the house of Virgo. So it's your health, your work, your day-to-day routines. And so whenever it comes to this is a big thing too, because when it came to my jobs, when I was working anywhere I worked, y'all, anywhere I worked, I had opposition. That Mars energy was present. There would be times where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I even saying? Like, what, why are people coming for me? But now I understand. But because you have this energy, you can do whatever it takes to win over those enemies. You will not like, you're not gonna wanna lose, especially because the 6th house is the house of open enemies, the 12th house is the house of secret enemies. So your open enemies, the people who I knew were trying to tattletale on me, were trying to write about me. Like, y'all, if I could sit here and write a book. But because I don't quit, you're not Aries is competition. Like, you wanna go, we can go. So whenever it came to people at my job who would just randomly come for me, you know, honestly, I would end up winning. Now, it doesn't mean I physically fought them, but those people somehow, for some reason, would end up like leaving or working somewhere else or whatever. And so I was like the last one standing, as far as how I won this quote competition. But again, winning over enemies, you cannot face defeat. It's like if I gotta kill, I'm gonna kill. Now I don't literally mean kill, but there's just no like giving up with this placement. Like, there's just not. As far as your seventh house, now, seventh house, y'all, this is the big thing with people, with love, with relationships. Seventh house is the house of more serious, committed relationship like marriage, like business partnership, legal bindings between people. It's the Libra house. And so your seventh house is ruled by Taurus, that Venus energy. So your partner, now, not to brag, but partners have always been very, very good looking. And so Venus energy can give you a very attractive partner, very good looking partner, very stable partner. Like they're the ones who are a little bit calmer because again, Scorpio want to fight. Scorpio is very intense. Scorpio is a fixed sign. Taurus is also a fixed sign. But again, Scorpio energy, you want a partner who has their own opinion, who's willing to stand on something. So Taurus is also that bull, that fighter, but it's a little bit slower, it's a little bit more methodical. But again, you want a partner who can stand on their own so that you can use that Mars energy to kind of go tit for tat. It can be like it's like a fun, friendly competition type energy too. And because Scorpio is very, very intense, very loyal, very passionate, you could be somebody also who could die for your partner. Now, either physically die, but again, self-sacrificing for your partner. Um, could I see myself doing that? I could probably see myself doing that, depending on how intense this relationship is. But, I'm very, very about loyalty and just passionate about loving who I love, whether it's family, whether it's romantic relationship, and I will fight people for the people I love. So that is something that is seen through there. Now, your eighth house is ruled by Gemini, which is Mercury type of energy. So the eighth house is the house of Scorpio, which is the occult, hidden knowledge. It's also in-laws are seen through there, inheritance, shared finances. And so Gemini energy, you could have a really good communication with your in-laws. It's also the house of sudden events. And because Mercury energy is mutable, it can adapt, it can adjust. You can be in a profession like an EMT, a firefighter, a detective, anything that requires like quick and sudden movement, because again, EMTs, firefighters, paramedics, all that's sudden energy. And again, Gemini is ready to thrive in chaos. People who have midheaven in Gemini can be people who thrive in chaos because it's ready to adapt to whatever situation that it is in. So it can also make very quick and impulsive decisions. Again, the house of sudden events, paired with Gemini, who gets bored very easily, is ready to just move on to the next. And so that is something that I've seen throughout my life. Sometimes I can make impulsive decisions without thinking them through. But, again, that's the energy of my chart. That's the energy of my life. The only thing we can do is bring awareness to ourselves and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this because I have a tendency to do these things too. But as far as your ninth house is ruled by the moon or Cancer type of energy. So wherever the ninth house sits in your chart or is ruling over whatever house is ruling over, it can fluctuate those areas of life too. So it can bring emotions to that area of life. You're emotionally connected or emotionally involved with your religion, with your philosophy, because ninth house is the house of Sagittarius, which is philosophy, morals, traveling, foreign land, foreign culture, higher education. So again, emotionally drawn towards those things can also be a lot of ups and downs in that area of life too whenever it comes to I love, like, y'all, I'm so passionate and love traveling so much. So this makes a lot of sense. Also being a Sagittarius moon makes a lot of sense. So your moon ruling over the ninth house, having a strong emotions toward those kind of things. Now, this is a video, a topic that got a lot of views for me on TikTok. The 10th house being ruled by Leo, by the sun, by the spotlight. Scorpio, again, introverted, outwardly to the world and out into the public. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not chit chatting with everybody. I'm getting what I need. I'm going back. I'm being very quiet, observant. Your 10th house, your house of career, is the sun, is the spotlight, is the center of attention. So there can be conflict with an energy drawing you to be the leader, to be the center. But then you yourself, how you present yourself to the world is like, no, I don't want anybody to look at me. So, for example, during 2020, obviously we already knew what happened then. I was being told that I needed to make a YouTube channel. I needed to make a podcast because the stuff I was posting online, people wanted to hear more. And I was like, first of all, no, because why would I put myself on a video? Nobody ever heard. I've been on social media since 2007. And so I had never recorded my voice until 2021, I believe. No one had ever heard my voice. I'd never recorded a video, nothing. It was just still images and text. And that's it for all the years that I've been online. And so that time, that energy kicked in where it was like, no, you need to be the leader. You need to be the center of attention. And so you can have a tendency to be drawn to those things. And again, Leo doesn't mean be an actor. It just could at all it can also mean being things like a teacher, standing in front of the classroom. You are the leader, you're the center of attention. All eyes are on you. Being a personal trainer, anything that requires you to be the focus, that is Leo 10th house type of energy. Working in government, law enforcement too, that is something too, because Leo, the sun is government. So I am somebody who's heavily involved in politics because Leo also rules over the fifth house, the house of politics. And so that was what the big thing was for me when people wanted me to get online. It was because I was discussing politics a lot. So again, those are all the energies that can be seen with that with that 10th house. Now, the 11th house, though, is ruled by Virgo. So when it comes to the 11th house, the house of friends, social networks, large organizations, Virgo energy being an earth sign, being very critical, being very analytical, being very calculative. That is how you can deal with these type of people. What can I get out of this? What are you giving me? What am I giving you? Like it's very like meticulous. And so that is how I present myself to people, and I let people know, like, how can we work together? What can I get out of this? What can you get out of me helping you, and vice versa? So again, Virgo ruling over that house, again, a little bit more meticulous type of energy whenever it comes to that area of life. Now, the 12th house is ruled by Libra, which is Venus type of energy. So, the 12th house is the house of Pisces, the house of the subconscious dreams, creativity, isolation. And Venus ruling over that Piscean type of house can draw you towards those kind of things, draw you towards spirituality. You could be very well versed in philosophy. Dreams are very important to you. Dreams are really big to me. I do dream a lot, and I have just a love for all things that have to do with Piscean type of energy. Again, creativity, spirituality, and just helping people, because the 12th house Pisces energy is the healer, the helper, so having your love sign there, your Venus sign there could have a love for helping people, love for healing people. Obviously, that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so that is seen through there too. So overall, y'all, I could go on and on about my life as a Scorpio rising, how I have presented myself to the world, and understanding too that, um, it's not an easy placement. It's not an easy rising sign. Again, you're always going under some kind of transformation. There's always something that you have to deal with in order for you to have that rebirth, to be somebody new. The Scorpio risings I know in my life, again, always dealing with something. I know the human experience itself is not always just so sweet, but again, some people have it a little bit more intense than others, okay? Especially when Mars rules over your entire life. So again, a lot of fighting, a lot of aggression, but again, learning astrology, learning yourself is evolving, is becoming better, okay? So understand that you have the energies that you do, and that's why you behave the way that you do, but it's also to understand balance and to find balance within yourself. I can't be out here just punching everyone in the face, okay? So that is something that I cannot do. But overall, that is the energy of Scorpio rising. And if you want a more in-depth analysis of your birth chart, I can tell you literally anything you want, y'all. There are things that I have asked strangers that I'm like, I didn't even know I could have pulled that out of that birth chart. So if you want to go more in depth, because Scorpio is all about finding the truth, finding y'all, I let me hurry up and end this video. Anyways, visit me on any social media platform. What did I just drop? Go to my website and let's talk, let's chat, y'all, because astrology, y'all, has helped better my life so much. Anyways, I will see y'all on the next video, which will be Sagittarius rising. Bye.